For today's video, I have a MTD 22-inch. It's just a basic mower, just push only, no self-propel. Yard Machines. This one's made by. There's probably a million machines that are the same machine. It's just got the regular bale. It's got the choke up here and the extended pull start, so you don't have to reach down. Real basic mower. Anyway, this is typically what you'll find alongside the road for a giveaway, or actually this one I got from a neighbor, which was a giveaway. It goes through the winter, doesn't start when they go to use it, and they throw it out and get a different one. So let's go through it and see what this one will need. So I'm going to start with the basics, of course. The essentials of life. This one says it takes 10 W30. We're a little low, so I'm going to start there. Okay, so the oil was good, and it has some gas-like substance in it. Let's hope it's not full of water. Let's just make sure for safety the blade's on there. Looks like that's good and tight. Doesn't look like anybody's been messing with it. When you find stuff, you just never know what they've been playing with. Let me give it a couple tugs here and let's see what happens. I got the choke on. And that would be why they got rid of it. It won't start. So let's go for the air cleaner next. It is absolutely soaking wet. Now that we're not drawing in water as fuel, as air, I'm going to try it again. No chance. Now, just to make sure we got spark and timing, that the flywheel key isn't sheared, and everything else, compression, I'm going to give it some fuel in the form of carbon choke spray. You can also just use regular gasoline, dribble it in there. Anything flammable will work. Just give that a little shot. And let's see if it runs and dies. Okay, so what I was listening for is any engine knocking, any reason why it might have been catastrophically failed, and there was none. It's not getting fuel, so let's just get right into the carburetor, take it all apart, because most likely this is an ethanol related fuel issue, which is very common. The ethanol separates, the water drops out at the bottom of the fuel, goes right into the carburetor bowl, sits in there, and causes corrosion on every single part known to mankind. Anything that sits longer than a couple months is very susceptible to this, and that's exactly what killed this mower, because when I give it proper fuel, it will run. It's not getting fuel on its own because the carburetor's clogged. So let's get into that. So I've just tilted it back. I had something to sit it on. I tilted it back. The reason I did that is that way when I take the carburetor off, the fuel won't flow out necessarily a lot. I may tip it more if necessary, depending on how full that fuel tank is, but it's easy to just tip it away from the carburetor and let gravity help you not make a spill. And just to get a second look at that air filter, looked like something was gnawing at it, ate a bunch of it, and it is absolutely soaked. And all it's going to do is first of all, it becomes a super filter because all the air passages are filled with water, and if you could get it started, it's just going to draw water into your intake mix and stall the engine. So we're going to need a new filter regardless, but just to show you how wet it was, look at the rust on that thing. That's supposed to be shiny metal right there. So the water's been in there a while. There's our carburetor. They couldn't make it easier to get off, and I'll show you how to do that. Guess my shadow is going to mess up the shot there. Okay, so let's go with this one first. Oh, and this throttle, you always want to, I should have made sure that these were okay to move, both the throttle and the choke, before I started it, but I didn't do that. But go full choke here, full throttle I mean, or no, idle. Get that one out. The spring, it's got its own separate hole. And this one should come out when I pull the carburetor out all the way. I gotta get this fuel line off. See, the fuel doesn't even spill out. Take that out, there's your carburetor right in your hand. Alright, we got the carburetor up where we can see it. Let's just get rid of some of these boogers. A quick shot of compressed air would be just the right thing if you have it handy. No sense wasting chemical like carb cleaner for the outside, because it doesn't really matter as long as these things are free to move, which they are. And then we'll just start disassembling. We'll take the bowl off first. I don't even feel, oh no, there is some gas in there, or water, I presume. I presume what we're going to find is rusty, dirty looking, what's supposed to be fuel. You could just buy a new carburetor for this if you were so inclined, but if you want to get it working today, that's not going to happen, right? Unless you pre-ordered it. There's some fuel coming out now. So it had some in the bowl. It's not terrible, but it's not shiny metal like you would have had from the factory. It's been eaten up by corrosion a little bit, but not bad. Not bad at all. These are a little rusty. That's what I get for leaving it outside at my neighbor's house last week. There we go. Got that. And the thing we're really after is inside here. There's a jet, and we want to get that out of there with a flathead screwdriver of the appropriate size. If you go too big, you ruin the threads that are in here. If you get too fat of a screwdriver, and then when you go to put the nut back on, you've realized your mistake, that you've messed up the threads. Most likely what I'm going to find is this jet is clogged and nothing can flow through it. I'm just trying to get that jet to fall out. There it goes. And yes, I can't see anything through the center of that jet. So that's our problem here, or at least one of them. Other things you can do, there's an emulsion tube up in here. If you get in through the holes, you can pry that, try to get it to fall out. What I did is went in through there and was prying on the middle. There's a tube that sticks up, and I don't think this one I'm going to really be able to get to come out. You could always stick a drill bit in there and just grab it a little bit, but we're fine. Most likely it's going to be this jet. The other thing I'm going to clean on this carburetor is the low speed jet, which is located underneath. This thing retains it. The jet is here. This thing is also the throttle adjustment, throttle stop, but this motor only runs at one speed, so it's not really necessary to have it in perfect adjustment. The low speed jet, you just pry it up, and you want to clean out everything here. There's a hole there. There's a hole through the center that's most likely clogged, and spray carburetor cleaner through there, through that little hole, through in there, down there, everywhere. Or put this thing in a carburetor bath if you think it's really clogged internally. Carburetor Chem Dip is a good brand, and you could just dip it overnight. Use an ultrasonic cleaner if you have it, however you like to do yours. Over the years, what I've found is these welding tip cleaners. You get them in a little case like this, and what I like is there's all different sizes. So for a larger engine you might need that one, but it goes down really small, and it's hard to find like a screw or something that small. If you're in a pinch, you can maybe take your wire brush, pull a wire off your wire brush, if that's all you had. But if you're in a pinch, but you just go through all these little passages. You don't ream them out, you just clean them. And you can see even just that little bit. Now I could see light through there. I don't know if the camera can pick that up, if I'm getting the right angle there, but anyway, just right away you see an improvement in the hole. So I'm going to go through, spray everything out, clean everything, get it ready to reassemble on the machine, reinstall. And for those that don't know a lot about carburetors, there's another important thing. For the fuel to get into here, there's little holes, and those holes have to be open, of course. The fuel goes in there and gets sucked upwards. Got you back down there. We got our carburetor all cleaned up and ready. You should always put a new gasket. We're not going to. Now I'm going to have to try mine without an air filter until I get an air filter, because if I put that air filter on, it will just absolutely smother this engine with wet intake. This had fallen off. That back in there where it belongs. Now I'll tip it up, give it a minute for that carburetor bowl to fill, and we'll go for a start. So the throttle is free to move, but yet this is what I get. So I'm going to have to adjust the governor spring, because somehow that thing got out of whack. That's when you get a machine you know nothing about, this is what you could run into. Luckily for us, especially on this model, it is a very easy adjustment. The kill switch works properly. The choke works good. Let's just give it a, we already put oil in there, and I'm just going to give it a blade sharpen, and this one's going to be ready to go. Anytime you tilt a machine like this, the oil fill and the gas is over there. Tilt it towards that direction, not towards this direction, as the gas will want to run out the carburetor. Blade, no major dings, couple whammies there, the other side, but no bends, and it's relatively good, but let's just sharpen it because it's so easy. And some sharp-eyed viewer probably has already noticed, this was not put back on with the carburetor air cleaner box. I will now do that. Which way is the right way? Only one way is the right way. It's going to be that way. That shims this out ever so slightly for whatever reason. Make sure now that I took everything back apart and put it back together, that we're okay. And what I do there is just release the handle a couple of times and just see if it comes back. I'm testing the governor and I'm testing you know, the throttle response. I hereby declare this free mower Wildwood certified. Thanks for watching.